hallway for.
I got Coke. Let's go to the playoffs. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th seed. Let's do it, baby.
All right, Charles, been through the hallway.
Don't play hot through the hard way, yeah.
All right, y'all. Through the hallway, we are back with some quotes, and boy, do we got a good one to start off here. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now I can't say
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Ibrahimovic. It's crazy because I actually like this guy. I actually watch a lot of his soccer, play with him in video games. He had some comments this week, and he's actually had some comments multiple times about athletes stepping out of their lane. And this week they were directed at LeBron, and he said he doesn't like how LeBron doesn't follow. His job is to be a basketball player, let politicians be politicians. But essentially, he was saying to LeBron, stay in your lane.
Or shut up and dribble.
Either way you want to look at it. You know how we are on this show. We are definitely Black excellence first. And our mission statement is to use this as a platform to exuberate Black excellence. So we definitely disagree with that comment, and I guess we can kind of talk in on how we feel about Zlatan's comments towards LeBron.
Everybody has their opinion on things. It shows you the differences in the way people view athletes. You have traditional athletes, which is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and then you have this next generation and leaders of that generation for athletes who are now not just shut up and dribble. And I think that it's just two different cultures, and it's a culture shock and a clash of philosophies. Zlatan doesn't understand or has a lack of understanding of the experiences that African Americans have in this country and why it's important for those people of power and those people that have their platforms to express themselves, to bring that to the broader audience. And I think that it's not about politics for us. It's about our way of life. It's not about politics. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And then there's things that needs to be addressed. And our politicians weren't doing that. So therefore, the athletes have to stand up. And that's just the long and short of it.
I think it's important to also mention that Zlatan said that he feels like LeBron stepped out of his lane. Like he doesn't like when celebrities do that, when they use their platform. Like he made that something that was very important. Like he doesn't like when celebrities use their platform to speak on politics or to speak on other things that isn't what they're professionals at. Go ahead, Rob.
I just think that, just to piggyback on what John said, we're misrepresented as African Americans in the fight for social justice, especially when it comes to politics. And if you look at the history of the African American struggle in America, it's been our athletes who have been at the forefront of this, whether it be Muhammad Ali, whether it be Bill Russell, whether it be Jackie Robinson, whether it be Jim Brown. It's literally the athletes that are one that are speaking up and making our voices heard. I'm with LeBron on this one. He's one of the most calculated and, like he says, one of the most educated people in the world. At the end of the day, yes, politics are supposed to unite us, but that's politics are dividing us, but they're supposed to unite us. And when the policies are failing, it's up to the people to speak out, and that's what makes America so great. So, LeBron, keep doing what you're doing, man. I promise. Russell Westbrook, there's a bunch of people out here who are doing things. Jalen Rose that are to support our community and empower us to be better and do better. And if there's an injustice in the world, sometimes it takes the athletes to be the forefront at it. So shout out to LeBron, Zlatan. I'm a little bit disappointed in you, man.
So I'm gonna say I'm not necessarily disappointed in Zlatan Ibrahimovic. This sounds like something that he would say. If you look at his resume when it comes to the things that he said in the media when he came over here to play soccer. I almost said football. When he came over here to play soccer, about how he's the best in the world and how certain people that we compare him to shouldn't even be mentioned in his name because those guys didn't play in the type of league that I played in back in the day. He's a self-absorbed person. I think that's part of the personality of Zlatan Ibrahimovic that's so captivating. With that being said, I think it's very important to understand where some of our athletes stand. Some of our celebrities stand. We look at, you can take a rapper like Lil Baby and say that when shit was going to the fan, he was on the front lines making songs about the injustice and marching with his people. And then we look at somebody that we all love and cherish as a rapper, Lil Wayne. He's quick to separate himself from the black plight. Not saying that he doesn't speak for the hood people, but he's or urban people, but he's very quick to separate himself from that plight. Some of our athletes, some of our favorite celebrities that we see, whether it be athletes, comedians, entertainers, singers, sports stars, like they're not the whole package. And this just brings that greatness of LeBron that he is and has always been in tune with what's going on in the community, in the society. And in that sense, then he is, in fact, speaking on what he knows. This is a guy that goes back to Cleveland and does Mike Brown. This is a guy that's been in Cleveland and opened up an atomic school. This is a guy that knows his community. So he's speaking on the politics, and he should, those are the people that we want in politics. Of course, we may not get that because there's a whole other world to that, but that's what the hell we want. Those are the people that are, what makes a politician? It's easy to run for any one of us can step into an office and say, hey, let's raise some money and be an assembly person and go from there and build a resume. Mm-hmm. Of course, we won't do that because we don't have the money generated as easily as some others may do it. But if you look at some of these states, these rural areas, that's how these people come into prominence. They are regular people just like us. So to have someone like LeBron that actually knows what's going on and has had his ear to the street from the jump. It would be weird if Lil Wayne was to be in this situation because he's never really had his ear to the street in that way. Mm-hmm. He's had his ear to the street in other ways, but he's never had his ear to the street in that way. But LeBron has always been like this. So even if Zlatan is being himself and speaking out on other prominent celebrities that shouldn't be doing this just because of their resume doesn't prove that this is real. This could be just that hashtag following, that keep my name relevant following. Oh, I want to show love because I know that's the cool thing to do. And he could be talking to someone, other celebrities that's like that, but that's not LeBron. So LeBron, like you said, Rob, LeBron, keep doing what you're doing. So that's on pick with somebody else. That guy's resume speaks for itself on both on the court and off the court. So moving on to our next quote, Jeremy Lin has he won't state the source, and he's been called while he's in the G League. He's been called things like Corona. He said that there's been a lot of discriminatory language, slang, harsh words being sent his way. And as we look at society right now, you have the big thing in LA where it seems like there's a clear discrimination against Asian descent right now, and then we've also had some situations here in New York recently, here in Manhattan, where there's been tension, at least. That's the say. That's the say it softly. There's been tension from the Black community and then other American communities toward the Asian population in our community. And now Jeremy Lin saying that he's also crossed over into the NBA. He's crossed over in the G League is NBA minor league. So it's crossed over into even the biggest of places. And how do you guys feel about that?
I think that we are in a divisive time. And especially during the coronavirus, when you have the sitting president saying that the virus came from China, and you have a lot of people believing that that are not, educated or understanding the entirety of the situation. Then you can get people to be misled, and people can make irrational statements like that, like Jeremy Lin's coronavirus, right? And that's not fair towards him as an athlete. It's not fair towards him as a human being in general. And if there's any league that you would least expect that from, it would be the NBA, who has given a platform to talk about, discrimination and having equal rights, and giving their athletes their voice to speak upon it. So definitely appreciate Jeremy Lin for bringing that up, and the NBA once again allowing him to use his voice to talk about these things because he's probably not the first person to do it. And this just goes back to the Ibrahimovic thing about just not being able to talk about politics. This is not politics. This is people's lives, right? So when those situations arises, you have to bring a light to that situation, and hopefully that can promote positive change. And I think that was Jeremy Lin's intent, and I think the NBA is going to address it. And he's a stand-up guy for not telling on the person he knows because he has that respect for him and he knows what it can do to that person's career. So like, kudos for Jeremy Lin. I love the way that he's handling it. And yeah, we gotta do better as a society and within and as athletes in the NBA of respecting other people. You can't say that we all for equality and it's just for one group. Nah, it's equality for all.
Yeah, man. And in today's world, you have to be very culturally sensitive. Literally, Amazon got backlash over their new logo because it had quote unquote remnants of Hitler's mustache, and they changed it immediately. So like, just living in a world like this, I think that we have to be equitable to all types of wrongdoings in the world and injustices. And like, the Asian community has been attacked for the coronavirus that's been coming up. And like, I think as athletes, as competitors, like it's okay to talk trash. You know what I mean? I'm all for it, but keep it a bit in the game. You know what I mean? And anytime you're like making it a personal attack against somebody and it's outside the lines of the competitive sport that you're in, I think that's totally wrong. So like, I did want to give my hats off to Jeremy Lin for not only voicing his injustice, because like it does take some courage to do so, but also like the same time like trying to have that same exact respect and be the bigger person in the situation. Like I think a lot of athletes and a lot of people in the world in general can learn from Jeremy Lin and like how to handle situations like these. But like I said, you just got to learn how to respect your opponent and keep it within the lines of whatever the athlete or whatever the competitive competition is. So sucks, and I feel for him in the Asian community, but I'm also saying that it's wrong.
I feel like I kind of feel bad for Jeremy Lin in the sense that with him being to me, the second biggest Asian star in basketball behind Yao Ming, and then with Yao Ming, not being in the league at all or not really being, a part of the league's production or any of their, showcase, the league's NBA showcase. Jeremy Lin kind of sits in a rough spot where everything that he says is going to speak for the Asian community, and everything that anytime he interviews, it's borderline newsworthy because he's going to be speaking for a whole underserved, admitted community in the NBA and even in this country. With that being said, I would go. My thought process is if it was trash talk, then like you said, Rob, you got to keep it within the parameters of the game. It kind of reminded me of the Carmelo Anthony and Kevin Garnett situation, like the Honey Nut Cheerio situation, and just certain things you just don't say, and that's a sensitive topic, and I can even visualize it. A couple of brothers on the sideline, and maybe he's taking a free throw, maybe trying to get him out of his game, maybe he's cooking up, maybe he's missed a couple shots. You see something that's going to throw somebody off. I remember when I forget, I think it was Golden State fans, but they bought a huge poster of Eva Longoria to the game against the Spurs. Yeah. And that's Tony Parker's ex-wife. and they're standing, they're behind the free throw line. I mean, things can be taken out of context. Fans have done it. With Russell Westbrook situation, LeBron situation earlier this year. But we got to remember that these are, like you said, Rob, these are human beings, and we have to respect them as human beings. And there's certain things that are just foul play, and I don't expect anyone to be extremely reprimanded for it. But this is something that we should not have. So I guess my plea to the league is, and people in the G League, individuals, to be better. Just be better in those situations. Moving on to college basketball, it was a little back and forth between Jim Boeheim, legend, and Jay Billis, another legend. talking about the ACC and other stronger conference teams, power conference teams or power teams that aren't performing so well this year in the coronavirus NCAA basketball league. And I believe Jay Billis said that the Blue Devils, so Duke, is better without Jalen Johnson, the student that opted out, one of the higher end of the high school ranked players. He opted out of playing this year due to coronavirus, and Jay Billis said that they're better without him, or was it Jim Boeheim that said that they're better without him?
Jim Boeheim said it was better out without him.
And Jay Billis disagreed.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with the power conferences right now? ACC doesn't have any top 5 teams, I don't believe.
Listen, man, honestly, it's a couple of things that's going on. First thing is the coronavirus has made recruiting hard. As you know, Duke, Kentucky, Carolina, they recruit across the country, right? Players are now, because of the coronavirus, willing to stay in their home states, right? So if you look like a big state like Texas, you got Baylor, you got Houston, right? You got Texas there, Texas Tech, right? I think, from my opinion, that the players are just staying home. Like, listen, we're not going to go to a Duke. We're not going to go to a North Carolina. We're not going to go to a Kentucky. I'd rather be closer to my family with these conditions that's going on. The other thing is that because of the G League that's going on, like, you have seniors, right? And a lot of these programs now, like in Illinois and Iowa and like a West Virginia, they have they're older teams that have seasoned vets. Yeah, they have seasoned vets, and it's like, as opposed to a Kentucky who usually recruits freshmen, right? And these freshmen have to gel, just like with the NFL with their preseason. These guys didn't have preseasons like that. These guys didn't have opportunity to gel and build and coach and have those fun activities that, Coach Cal and all these other coaches have to build that chemistry before they even get on the court. They're learning as they grow, and now you're seeing like those teams become better as the season goes on and as the season progresses. But it's not like those fast starts that you used to have when you had those guys in the beginning. And that's a product of that as well. And then the last thing is the NCAA has allowed players to transfer pretty much at will.
Yeah.
Right? There is no holds on that. So players are just jumping. If I don't want to play here, I'm just going to go to another team. So I think all of those factors kind of hurt those blue blood teams. And it was a wave we wasn't prepared to see. But I do like the fact that I like the open field. I like it that you have teams like West Virginia and Iowa and Illinois is back up there for, those top tier teams. It brings back the variety of teams that you have. So in order for you to watch college basketball now, you can't just go into March Madness and like, yeah, I'm just going for Duke, I'm just going for Kentucky. Like, now you got to know your team. Now you actually have to know. So it's definitely an exciting time for college basketball. And yeah, that's my theory behind it.
Rob, listen, John, I think I'm very happy that we had this topic on the show today. I couldn't agree with you more. The one team I will always ride and die with is my Rock Chalk Jayhawks.
Background, I didn't even realize.
And through all the good and bad and all the blue bloods, quote unquote, being bad, one still remains. That's Kansas. And we going back to this shit. That's all I gotta say.
Kansas is 18 and 8 this year.
And ranked 13.
And a little apple.
All right, y'all. It's been real. That was the quotes. That's been 3 the hallway.
I got quote. Let's go into the playoffs. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th seed. Let's do it, baby.
All right, y'all. It's been 3 the hallway.
They don't play.